president. In our audience tonight, Democrats and independents who say they plan to participate in the Democratic primaries and caucuses. Please welcome Andrew Yang.
Thank you all.
Welcome. We got a crowd that's fired up and ready for you. Sit down.
So charismatic, man.
So I saw recently that you were proposing potentially doing some campaigning via hologram. In fact, I think we have a little example. You're testing it out here with the hologram of Tupac, you rapping your hologram.
Yes.
Rapping there with him.
As you can see, I'm giving him a run for his money.
I'm actually, in all seriousness, wondering, are you campaigning anywhere else right now?
How do you know it's me in this chair? Right now, this is the only place I am.
Well, we're glad to have you, and we have a lot of great questions for you. Let's begin. We have Emily Benson here. She lives here in Washington and works for a nonpartisan think tank. Emily, go ahead.
Artificial intelligence has contributed to job automation, leading to significant job losses in multiple sectors. How do you propose regulating AI to ensure continued human employment? And what do you propose in terms of reskilling programs to keep Americans competitive in the computer and machine age?
What a phenomenal question, and this is, in many ways, one of the key challenges we're facing as a country. We have to face why Donald Trump won the election of 2016. He won by the numbers because we'd automated away 4 million manufacturing jobs in Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Missouri, Iowa, all the swing states he needed to win and did win. And I have many friends who work in technology, and they know that what we did to the manufacturing jobs, we are now going to do to the retail jobs, the call center jobs, the fast food jobs, and most disastrously, the trucking jobs in the days to come. So we need to think much bigger about how we're going to help Americans transition through this time. And if you look at the data around retraining and education programs, unfortunately, they tend to be largely ineffective for many displaced workers. The effectiveness rate for manufacturing workers with federally funded retraining programs are between 0 and 15%. So we need to think bigger about how we're going to help Americans transition. And my flagship proposal, which many of you have probably heard of, is a freedom dividend of $1,000 per month for every American adult starting at age 18. This would create 2 million new jobs in our economy. It would make children and families stronger and healthier, and would help tens of millions of Americans transition through what is the greatest economic and technological transformation in our country's history, which is what we're going through right now.
Mr. Yang, we'll talk a little bit more about the freedom dividend here in just a moment, but let me just follow up with you. You have said you can't stop automation. Don't even try. But why not intervene?
Well, if you look at it, you don't think about 30% of American malls closing in the next 4 years as an automation or AI problem. But then when you trace the steps, Amazon is sucking up $20 billion in commerce every year, and that's what's causing 30% of malls and stores to close. And if you go to an Amazon fulfillment center, you see it's wall-to-wall robots, and they're investing billions of dollars in AI. So it's very, very difficult to stop this process. We have to instead think about how we can make Americans prosperous through this time. The goal should not be to save jobs. The goal should be to make our lives better.
Okay, let's get to our next audience question. This is David Hahn. He is a lawyer working for the Department of Veterans Affairs and is a supporter of yours, Mr. Yang. He has a question about your... He has a question about the freedom dividend. Go ahead, David.
All right. Andrew, when you speak about the cost of basic income, you've indicated that the freedom dividend would be opt-in or otherwise offset by savings from current spending on entitlement programs. What is your message for veterans, disabled persons, and families receiving TANF benefits, specifically with the concern that they might benefit less from the freedom dividend than other Americans would?
That's a tremendous question. And the goal is to make an economy that works for everyone, a trickle-up economy from people, families, and communities up. And though the freedom dividend might help certain Americans more than others, depending upon their current benefits, programs, or enrollments, the goal is to make it so that we don't stop necessarily at the freedom dividend. So if someone's a veteran on disability and we see that those benefits are not sufficient, for example, right now, 22 veterans and soldiers are committing suicide every day, which is an incredibly tragic and horrifying figure. And that's the kind of thing we need to put massive resources in place to combat. The freedom dividend does not solve all problems for all people, but hopefully it will move us in the right direction.
So let me ask you, If you were proposing to give every single American adult $1,000 a month, $12,000 a year after they turn 18, that would include people like Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett. Why do billionaires need the freedom dividend?
Well, if you look at what's going on in our country right now, there's one state that has a dividend of between $1,000 and $2,000 per year, and that state is Alaska, where it's universal, it's funded by a petroleum fund. And so in Alaska, they don't go around saying, hey, are you rich? Then you don't get it. If you're doing worse, then maybe we'll give it to you. And the benefits are enormous because then all Americans can get excited about it as a right of citizenship. You don't have any stigma attached to it. You don't need to frame it as a rich to poor transfer. And you don't need to monitor everyone's income in any given moment in time. So there are massive benefits to making it universal. And in Alaska, it has stood the test of time for almost 4 decades under multiple administrations, where now it's wildly popular, has created thousands of jobs, has improved children's health, and has helped decrease income inequality. So what they're doing in Alaska with oil, we can do for the rest of the country with technology.
But in the scale, obviously, in Alaska is very different than what we're talking about when you're looking at more than 200 million Americans across the country here.